Greetings again. Welcome to another unboxing. Well, this one's really an unbagging, as you can see. So this is my haul from the latest Brisbane Record Fair that has now moved to Aspley from Coorparoo. I went basically just to get out of the house and to check out what the Aspley setup was like. They apparently have returned to their old haunt, which was they were there 10 years ago, which I never went to those ones. So yeah, I just wanted to see what it was like, see who was turning up, see if there's some new vendors. So maybe there'd be some fresh vinyl that I hadn't seen. And yeah, look, it was an interesting affair. There's some pros and cons to the new venue. I think for me, I can see the pro is that it's mostly all just undercover, so all the vendors can keep out of the weather, which is nice. Yeah, it wasn't too bad. I thought it was going to be more spread out, but it wasn't, so that was a good thing where you could just walk from one vendor to the next. But also the cons, I think, really would be the location where that was placed. It was very isolated really from anything else, unlike the last venue where you had a lot of walk-through traffic because of the shopping centre sort of arrangement. This one was at a shopping centre, but it was a quiet sort of place. So there wasn't really as much sort of incidental foot traffic. I think most people who were there travelled there just for that particular event, because the other shops here weren't really even nearby. But look, I went, as I always do, well, recently, not really expecting to buy anything, but again, just an open mind that if I do see some good value products, I'll get them. And I did. I thought I got pretty lucky. So without further ado, I'm going to unbag. Let's go. And I did actually buy from a couple of different vendors. Some of the old, well, former ones, I should say, not old. Some are getting old, but yeah, some of the regulars from the last couple of years, and a couple of new ones around that I hadn't seen before, which kept it fresh for me. And yeah, I got some fresh opportunity. All right, first up, I bought two from this young fella. I don't know if he was on his own or if he was in coots with anybody else, because he seemed to keep coming and going, but I hadn't seen him before. Not a lot of his stuff was fab, and this was the one I probably took the most gamble on. And I don't normally do that, but I thought, look, I hardly ever see this LP. Actually, I've never, seen this LP in the wild. I've heard of it. The condition didn't look that fabulous, to be honest. Fairly scratched up. But look, I thought I'm going to give it a gamble for the price, because, yeah, look, I couldn't pass it up. It was $15, and it's the Velvet Underground, live at Max's Kansas City. This one's about 1970, I believe. I think it was recorded in 1970. And, excuse me. But not, I think it might have been released a little bit later, like maybe 72 or something. I may be wrong. I don't know if there's any years on there. Interesting thing about this one, though, that I saw, the original drummer Mo Tucker is not actually on here. Oh, there you go. It says, sorry, 1972 there, yeah. But I'm pretty sure it's from a performance in 70. Yeah, sorry. So Mo Tucker is not there. And replacing her on drums is Yule. What's his name? The newer bass player. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it'd have to be related. Yeah, Doug Yule's on bass and vocals. There's Bill Yule. So I'll be honest, I didn't research that part, but I'm just going to make an assumption there. So we've still got Lou Reed and we've got Sterling Morrison there. Now, I did read on this too, so this is a double gamble because it does say that this was recorded, oh there you go, sorry, so there's 1970, and that it was recorded by a friend of theirs or something with a cassette recorder. I thought, oh, that doesn't sound very hi-fi, sounds quite lo-fi, but I was expecting that, and it is very lo-fi, so it's very raw. Unfortunately, though, the copy I got is not that great. The gamble didn't really pay off that much. It was, it was more than the 15. I wouldn't have paid for it. I still think this is overpriced because it didn't jump. There was no jumps, skips or whatever. There was just a lot of crackle, particularly inside to really Cracklesville. That was starting to really detract from the experience and overpower. There was no rating, as you can see on here, condition rating. But when I looked at it, it looked probably very good minus. And I'd say first side is very good, maybe very good minus, good plus on the second side. But good news is it does not skip and doesn't stick. So that's something. But yeah, that's the first one. And from the same vendor, I got an LP that I have been after for a while. Look, I do have a copy on CD. That's very nice. Sounds great. But I've always wanted to get this on record for the right price. And I did find it for what I think was the right price. The condition looks pretty good. So I thought I'd give it a crack for $20. And it does link to that one because it is Lou Reed's Transform. Classic album from just a couple of years after the other one. Well, after the recording of the other one. It was a year after 1973 of that last release. But yeah, this record, I don't need to say much except, yeah, I thought 20 was very reasonable for this condition. There's a bit of ring wear, but minor. The vinyl itself, I'd say, is a solid, very good, maybe even, very, very good to very good plus. Sort of varies between those two, I'd say. Nice, strong mastering. I believe this is a UK pressing. It might even be an original UK pressing on RCA from the UK. But yeah, it sounds really strong. So any imperfections, unless there's quiet passages, it's pretty good. I forgot to mention that one here is an Australian pressing that makes Kansas City, and I knew that when buying it. And this one is UK. You can see there, London W1. But yeah, so I was really happy with the $20 because I've been trying to get it for $20 or under, which is usually wishful thinking for this. So even though Velvet Underground was a little bit of a fizz, it was more of a gamble. This one visually did look better. You just never know until you play it, and it came up good. So I'm really pleased to now have that on vinyl, where it belongs. From a different vendor, this other guy who had a lot of really cheap LP. Well, mostly there's a couple of a bit more price, but mostly inexpensive for good reason most of the time. But I got some two from this guy as well, and first, I got a really nice copy of this LP. Now, I know this is not a highly sought after LP from this artist, but it's in cracking condition. I haven't played this one yet, but it looks pretty near minty minus fresh. And the cover. And that is Round Midnight soundtrack. That is technically credited to Herbie Hancock because he produced it. I think he wrote some things on it. So he had a lot to do with this. And if you look on Discogs and stuff like that, it is credited under his name, not under like various artists, which I thought it would be. But no, they do keep it as a Herbie Hancock. And there's a cast of awesome people that I will not read because people can read. So you can read that there. But yeah, look, it's more of a return to sort of post-bop, sort of late 50s, 60s, early 60s stuff. But yeah, it's quite nice. Again, I have this on CD. I got really cheap not long ago for about $2. This was $5. So you can see the condition of the cover. I know that's not always an indicator of the condition of the vinyl, but in this case, it is. So I'm not gonna get it out, but it's nice and shiny. Look, yeah, I know it's not sought after Herbie Hancock, but it still technically is, and there's some great play, and there's some nice stuff on there. It's nice enough, and for $5, it's the right price for me. All right, and cranking along. From the same guy, I got an absolute cracker for a really good price as well. This one was $10. But hey, again, I've been after this, and 10 is very, very good these days for Ron Carter's All Blues on CTI in gatefold. And I do believe, I think this one, just from memory, might have been a US pressing. I will have to check. Not that it matters, but you can even see it there. I'll just take this one out of the cover, just so we can get in a little bit deeper with this one. But yeah, the cover's pretty damn good. Look, you'll see a bit of aging on the inside, but that's nice and solid. Yeah, and if I open up, you'll see there's some sort of aging. But hey, it is like 1971. I think three, maybe two. Let's have a look in here. There you go. Yeah, 73. Recorded at Van Gelder by Van Gelder. Got some great players on here, particularly Cobham, Henderson, early Richard T stuff. Yeah, so yeah, sometimes Ron Carter's solo stuff, I will be honest, can be a bit hit and miss in a way, even though he's just brilliant and does brilliant stuff on other people's work. But this one's early enough on CTI, and if I just have a quick squeezy, there is a little bit of a in wear in the split, sorry, in the seam down there, but nothing heinous. Yeah, there. So we've got the yellow label. So I'm pretty sure that's a US press, and I just haven't double checked. But yeah, so it's good to have another Ron Carter and another early CTI, particularly, yeah, in the collection, and for a good price of $10. Yeah, hopefully can't go wrong with that. I haven't played that one yet, checked it out. But very much looking forward to it. All right, so two from that guy. I don't know what his name was. He seemed like an older gentleman too. I think it would be his personal collection, maybe. Now, there was also another new vendor from Toowoomba. I just forgot his name. But that was good to see, because I got to see some stuff I didn't see. And look, I purchased 3 things from this fella. Prices are right, not too bad. I thought I'd give it a crack. Now, I haven't played any of these yet, so I'll see. But firstly, this is my ceiling price of $15 for this one. It's been on my list, but not high, but 15 was the top I'd go for Mahavishnu Orchestra's Visions of the Emerald Beyond. This is a New Zealand pressing of all things, but obviously you can see it's very OG. There is a little bit of sort of aging around some of the sleeve, particularly when you take it out. He's got very good on it there. I looked at the vinyl, it actually looks better. So I'm hoping it's more so a very good plus and that he's being, you know, a little bit conservative. But hey, for a New Zealand pressing, even if it was an Australian one, and you know, this LP, I wouldn't have paid more than 15. That was my ceiling. But I thought I'd give it a crack and see how good this guy's stuff is too. And just to sort of make it almost like a pigeon pair, I've sort of gone past this Apocalypse album by Mahavishnu Orchestra many times. Not sure why, but again, just not as essential. Again, 15, my top price. I would have liked to probably pay 10 for both of these instead, but I thought I'd give them a crack. This one's got a little bit more sort of sticky damage here, sort of sticky stuff. I don't know that'll come off, but I'm not that worried. It's just like old tape or something, and down the bottom. But again, I think he's put VG on this, on the vinyl, but you know, it looked again a little bit better than that, and we'll see. I know it can be a bit full-on fusion, this stuff. And sometimes John McLaughlin can go to his excesses, but usually there's some value in his stuff. But yeah, and then from the same guy, I've got this LP because it was nice and cheap, and I've always passed this up, and I've been just after a decent copy for cheap, to add to the collection and out of curiosity. And this was only $7. And I will admit, when you look at the vinyl, it looks, I'm going to be honest, near mint minus, like basically unplayed. The cover's a little bit more worse to wear, but it's just more so a little bit of stain and aging. And that's Roberta Flack featuring Donny Hathaway. Excuse me. Now the featuring it's different to the other one they put out about 73 maybe. It was, I think, and Donny Hathaway. And this is the one that he was recorded with her in I think 79, and I believe he died of that tragic, well, they don't know if it was an accident or suicide or what have you, I think during the recording period, and didn't see the end of this album and the actual, finishing and pressing and all that. Yeah, so it's a bittersweet record in that way. But I, like Roberta's stuff, her earlier stuff, Donny Hathaway's early stuff too, but, the two together, I wanted to give a go, especially for the $7. And as I said, the cover looks worse, but the vinyl is really nice and shiny and very schmick. So yeah, $7 these days. That's not too bad for that sort of album. I'm just going to move these so I get some more room and dive on in. I'm just trying to remember what's next. Oh yeah, so it was good to see old mate Barry. I've bought a few things from over the years. He always sells good stuff. He always sells, quality, machine cleaned, very honest seller, reasonable prices. He's a jazz guy too. He just usually keeps his nice stuff at home, and you can't begrudge him with that. But I got a couple of things from Barry. I haven't bought from Barry for a while. And again, I got this one, which great artist. It's just not his best album, from 1977, and that's O'Donnell Levy, awesome guitarist. His time has changed, and this looks like a really nice copy, being ultrasonic cleaned for my convenience. There you go. You can't read sideways. It's a nice gatefold, and I had heard it before, and it's been on my list, but just again not high. So 15 was the right price, and it's in a lovely gatefold, I believe. Yep, just a little bit of staining, aging there. There's not much in the gatefold. It's just very excessive for a gatefold just to have that much with big titles. And yeah, look, this one is very highly produced, polished, with that late 70s sort of super clean sheen. But I'll be honest, I did listen again, and it's better than I thought. So that was really good. Because yeah, I sort of went, it's all right when I streamed it and put it on my list as a maybe, even because I've got some of his early albums and they're fantastic, and he plays great stuff on other people's stuff. And I said this one because it's the post 75 rule of being 77. It is, it's a bit slicker, but there is actually some nice stuff on here, and it was good because I sort of had lowball expectations. I thought it was better than I'd originally had my first impression when I streamed it. So I'm really happy then to get that for 15 and in really good condition. It's great. Now I got 2 more from Barry, and I'm going to be honest here. This next one is one that I already have, so I'm just going to move that over so I don't damage it without the cover on. But yeah, this next one I technically already have, but I was surprised to see Barry have it. I've never seen it in the wild. I bought it online, and this was in really cracking condition and a great price that I couldn't pass up. And again, cracking guitarist from the 70s, similar era, a little bit earlier. I think it's 75, so 2 years earlier. And that is, I just got to turn this the right way, that is George Freeman's Man and Woman. But this is in cracking condition, and it was $15. And I was just like, wow. This is on Groove Merchant for 15 in the wild. Let's take it out so you can see it a bit better, because it's in really lovely condition. With the gatefold that cracks open, so I'm just going to crack open this way first, and just be careful because the record will come out the bottom. Try not to damage anything here, but I'll try to give you the idea here. Not that you probably want to see this side. Because you can see why that's something that is strategically covering up his junk. So whoever that is. So there's your man side with the woman's hands. But then something for the dads on the inside. And this one's tastefully in black and white, almost looking like an Ohio Players record thing. And Snap, when he just happened to have his hand in a certain obtrusive position there. But yeah, that's the gatefold, which was pretty impressive there. But hey, the songs on here quite good. Again, I've got some of his earlier stuff just from a couple of years earlier, which I'll say is probably a little bit better, but this is still a nice album. And as I said, the vinyl's in really nice condition, really schmick. Cover's solid and clean as $15. Cracker. And the next one is one that I also have, but there is a difference. So this is a different version of one I've already got. Again, really nice album. Originally came out, I think, maybe 1970, I think. Might have been recorded late 69. But this is the second edition that came out in the latest 70s or mid to late 70s of Hubert Law's Crying Song. Now, normally I'd do it the other way around. Normally, if I had the later pressing, I'd want to buy the earlier original one. This one the other way around, because I'm going to be honest, this cover is better than the original cover, which is unusual. This is more of a CTI sprawling cover, unlike the first one. The first one's a really early CTI LP that didn't quite have the aesthetic down. So this is from the 6000 series, I believe, where they did some reissues, repackaging even. But the original is not a gatefold. This baby is a gatefold. So again, I'll just try to carefully with one hand swivel around here. Because yeah, this has got one of those really expansive landscape, beautiful, impressive, CTI photographic covers. It's got some atmosphere in there, and it's monochromatic and that. The first one, yeah, nah, it's not like that. And it's not gatefold. And this is, as you can see, really good nick. There's a little bit of damage, like vermin damage. And that's why Barry said he marked this one down, because I got this one at a cracking $10. And again, that's why I went, look, I'm going to get a second copy for 10 and a different one, because also hopefully I don't damage this, the inner gatefold, look at that. That's kooky old school, lovely typical CTI stuff here. And this one's an interesting one. Yeah, there you go, September 69 it was recorded. So I'm not sure if it was then released 70 originally. This copy is like about 1970, I'll say 75 or 6. But the interesting thing about this LP is, well, there's a couple of things. Firstly, some of it was not recorded at Van Gelder's studios in, what is it, New Jersey. This one, some of this was actually recorded in Memphis. So the Muscle Shoals type sound they're trying to get here in American Sound Studios there. And they actually used some of those band members on this. I think it was like the ones who apparently used to do some of Elvis Presley's session work, as a kind of fun fact. I don't know how fun that is, but the other sort of more fun fact is apparently this was, firstly, those sessions were slated as a Stanley Torrentine session and then album, but he apparently was not available to do it. He was booked somewhere else or something. So even though he plays sax, they got Hubert Laws to come in to do flute as the primary instrument. Other fun facts on this one is the choice of covers, because it's got some covers from Pink Floyd's soundtrack album, More. And I'm going to be honest, there's some really nice stuff, particularly Cymbeline. I think that's how you pronounce it. I don't know if it's Cymbeline or Cymbeline. But the version here is really nice. I really like that version. And yeah, there's Crying Song as well. Then there's a couple of other interesting covers. Yeah, it's a little bit hit and miss, this record. It's a little bit up and down because it's got Let It Be, Feeling Alright, I Gotta Get a Message to You. It's the Bee Gees, isn't it? Listen to the Band, which I think, is it the Monkees? Might be wrong. But yeah, so, and Singing Rainbow, as you can see there. So look, it's a bit of a mix, and even the sound is a bit of a mix because it was recorded in two places and I think it's two places and two, yeah, sorry, you can see there Van Gelder for the other session. And that's with the more traditional CTI, or what became the more traditional CTI, and originally A&M players, so like George Benson, Grady Tate. We've got Billy Cobham coming in though on drums, Bob James making an early appearance in the CTI in 1970. So that would be of particular interest, and obviously that name down there. So yeah, it's sort of like an album of two types, two bands at times, but you know, there's still some really nice stuff and some, you know, okay stuff. And I'm gonna be honest, it's the Memphis stuff that I think is more just the okay stuff. All right, enough raving on about Crying Song, so I'll move that to Damage It. And we'll go next with a purchase I made from someone I rarely ever buy. I haven't bought from for probably 2 years. Reason, they're normally very expensive and not usually good value. So I'll be honest, I usually walk past them now. Because this was a new record fair, I was getting near the end of the run. seen everyone, some more than once. I thought, look, I'll give this person a crack. It was pretty quiet too. So it was, easy to look at their stuff and give them a bit of time. And I'm glad I did, because I did pick up one LP from them that was reasonably priced. It's been on my hit list again, low on the hit list, but it hit my sort of ceiling price of $15. And that's Eddie Harris, EH in the UK. So yeah, look, I paid $15. That was a nice surprise here. The DJ promotional copy sticker. I will say the LP itself is not like a white label or has it marked. It's just stickered as such. And yeah, this is one I've kind of been after, because I know it's a bit of a different sound. It gets a bit of rock in here, sort of rock influence from the English musos. So it does have a different feel to his other albums of this time, which was early 70s. Again, I'm going to say this one's probably 73, maybe. Am I going right? Is it in here? Atlantic, Printed USA. 74. There you go. I was almost there. So yeah, for his stuff around this time, it does have a different sound and feel because of the plays. And look, in one way, that's not a bad thing. It does create a little bit more variety than just using sort of the regular American players, and getting a different sort of vibe in there. And you can see we've got Stevie Winwood in there. Jeff Beck is in there. That's quite interesting. And Ian Pace. So known names there. Rick Gretsch from I think it was In Blind Faith. It's also on there. There you go. And a couple other names there you might recognise, but they're probably the main ones. So yeah, 15. Cover's pretty solid. Some nice change on there. 15 was the ceiling, and it looks, again, even though it's not great on there, when I look at the vinyl, looks better than the cover too, which sealed it for me. And lastly, I did go back to our old mate, Mr. Sacred Crate's Marco. And again, look, I haven't bought from him for a while, because look, his prices are, reasonable, but, usually higher than I want to pay for some of the stuff he's got. Sometimes his stuff is a bit hit and miss in terms of quality, but this one was calling to me straight away, and I have been after this. And this was the one I spent the most on. So far you can see I got away with, mostly 10 to 15s, which is good. 1.5, 120. So, averaging out there from 10 to 15. But this one was 30. So, higher end. It is a reissue, which we'll talk about. And that is Barkay's first LP, Soul Finger. Yeah, I know. And I think this is 1966. The cover looks groovy, 1966. Early Vault, so Stack subsidiary, sorry. And I was scheduled thinking, okay, $30. It looks in pretty good nick. There's a little bit of sort of staining. And I thought, well, that's a little bit stainy for a pretty new thing. The thing is, I'm looking at this thing and I'm going, I know this is a reissue. I can just tell, like, it was too glossy. Even though it's got a little bit of staining or what could have been Fox, it's just too slick for 1966. It's just too solid. And I looked at the vinyl, and the vinyl, it's got a little bit of scuffies and a little bit of finger marks. But again, it's, it was looking probably very good plus with the cleanup. I like cleanup. And I was looking around going, where's some markers here? Where's some reissue markers? Couldn't see it. Oh, there we go. Sorry, 1965. My bad. Yeah, I couldn't see anywhere saying anything about who else pressed this. Like, if it was a Rainbow pressing, a Scorpio pressing, and they're just sort of disguising it a little bit by keeping true to the original, because everything here smacks of the original. Even the code side here, look, there's nothing. It's just saying Volt with the original number 417. And I'm like, So I asked Mr. Secret Crates Mark. I'm like, look, mate, do you know anything about this? This is not original. He's like, nah. And I said, look, it's got no markers on. Marco, in his true good form, he said, look, if there's any problems, bring it back, because the vinyl went fine. Took it home, gave it a clean, had a research, and look, it turns out that this is a fairly later reissue. I can't remember the exact year, but it is later. And the thing is, it is a Rhino pressing. So Rhino via Scorpio, I think, or via Rainbow Records pressing plant, but it is branded as a Rhino. And apparently that stuff, those indicators were on a sticker originally on the Shrinky, which is not on here. So that's why. So you could see that on the, apparently on the Shrinky, on the sticker, and go, oh yeah, it's reshoots Rhino, blah blah blah. So it is a legitimate one, because I was worried that it was a bootleg because it had no indicators, to be honest. The other thing that's a giveaway, which I didn't realize at the time, and for you guys playing at home, I don't know if you can tell, this is a stereo pressing, but the front cover is actually the mono, because the stereo pressing original, I think, had that up here somewhere. I'm pretty sure it's saying stereo. I didn't pick that. It didn't, register with me on the day I bought it. In the real, I just saw the cover. I know that cover, and I want that album, and I want a decent copy, and it is. So I have cleaned this. It came up good. I think there's just some scuffs that were from the original unfortunate paper sleeve inner, which I've promptly replaced with a nice safe plastic inner, anti-static. I gave it a good clean up. It's come up pretty damn good. Look, it's not mint minus. I'd say it mostly very good. And for a reissue, it actually sounds, it's got good sound. So yeah, really happy then to pick this up even for 30. So I didn't have to pay postage and stuff. And that really gets my Bar-Kays early stuff nicely filled up. Alrighty, there you go. So Brisbane Record Fair, walked in not expecting to get anything. Walked out with a bundle of decently priced stuff, to be honest. One fizzer so far, and we'll see with the rest. Alrighty, thanks for hanging in there once again. I'll catch you again. See ya.